Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plugging into something essential, the global power supply market.
A hidden engine, really.
Exactly. We've got this great new report. It looks at the market size now, but also, where it's heading. So our mission, if you will, is to pull out the key insights. What's happening now? What are the big trends shaping power delivery?
Sounds good.
And just to ground us, the report estimates the 2025 global market size at USD 241.5 million. A pretty big number.
It certainly is. Puts it in perspective, doesn't that? How fundamental this is. We're talking about the things that convert electricity for, well, almost every device we use.
Absolutely. And the source here is the Global Power Supply Market Report 2025 from
Yep.
Cognitive Market Research. It looks ahead, too, forecasting out to 2033.
Right?
They're predicting it'll grow to USD 535.45.20 million by then. That's a CAGR, an average growth rate of 5.00% per year.
A solid 5%.
And it gets really detailed, breaks it down by power supply type, output power, who uses them, and region by region.
Okay, so let's unpack that. The big picture first.
Yeah.
That overall projection, what's the main takeaway?
Well, the main thing is just solid, sustained growth. It really reflects how much more we rely on electronics. That 5% annual growth over almost 10 years, that's not trivial. It shows a real expansion. And the report says it's driven by two big things. Our hunger for consumer electronics. I mean, look around you.
Guilty.
And the steady rise of industrial automation. Factories, logistics, they all need reliable power.
Right. Okay, so strong upward trend globally. But, the details are always interesting. Regionally, where's the action? Any surprises there?
Definitely some interesting variations. Let's start with North America. What jumps out immediately is the sheer size. It's got over 40% of the global revenue right now.
30%. Okay.
For 2025, the estimate is USD 409.36 million. But the growth forecast, the CAGR for 2025 to 2033, it's a bit more measured, about 3.5%. Okay, so the current giant, but maybe growing a bit slower than other places. What's driving it there?
Yeah, exactly. The report points to, well, mainly two things. In the U.S., which is the biggest chunk, USD 579.98 million in 2025, 3.3% CAGR. It's massively driven by data centers and cloud computing. All that infrastructure needs tons of reliable power.
Makes sense. The cloud isn't really in the sky, is it?
Nope, it's in power-hungry buildings. Then you got Canada, about USD 609.12 million, but a slightly higher CAGR, 4.3%. There, industrial automation is a bigger factor, manufacturing resources.
And Mexico.
Mexico's significant too. USD 1,220.25 million and a decent 4.0% growth rate expected.
Okay, so North America's digital backbone is key. What about Europe, across the pond?
Europe's another major player, over 30% of the global revenue. Their 2025 market size is estimated at USD 10510.04 million, and the projected CAGR is 4.1%, a little faster than North America overall.
Interesting. And within Europe, is it uniform or are there specific drivers?
Definitely variations. Take the UK, for instance. It's got a USD 1765.69 million market and a pretty strong 4.9% CAGR predicted. A big factor there seems to be energy efficiency rules, regulations pushing for newer, better power supplies.
The regulatory push.
Exactly. Then Germany, the industrial powerhouse.
Yeah.
USD 2080.99 million market, 4.3% CAGR.
Yeah.
For them, it's industrial automation, Industry 4.0, digitalization.
Mm-hmm.
All that requires advanced power.
Right. So a mix of regulation and industrial demand in Europe. The report listed quite a few other countries, too.
It did, yeah. France is there. USD 966.92 million, 3.3% growth.
Mhm.
Italy, well, USD 903.86 million, 3.5%. Russia is quite large, USD 729.06 million, but slower growth at 3.1%.
Okay.
Then you have Spain, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, even Luxembourg,
Yeah.
mostly in that 3-4% CAGR range. Luxembourg's a bit higher at 4.4%.
Yeah.
The collective rest of Europe is pegged at USD 1471.4 million,
Yeah.
but with a lower CAGR, 2.8%. So, yeah, quite a bit of diversity across the continent.
Got it. So North America, Europe, the current big players. But
Yeah.
it sounds like the real growth story, the fastest growth, is happening in Asia Pacific.
Absolutely. That's where the momentum really is. APAC is about 23% of the global revenue now. USD 697.96 million in 2025. But get this. The projected CAGR for 2025 to 2033 is 7.7%.
It's 7.7. That's
Yeah.
that's way higher than the others.
It is. It's the highest by a significant margin. Points to really rapid expansion.
What's fueling that surge in APAC?
A few things. China's huge, of course. USD 653.14 million market.
Right.
7.2% CAGR. A big driver there is massive investment in renewable energy, solar, wind, They all need power conversion tech.
Right, inverters and grid connections.
Exactly. But the fastest growing single country in the region, according to this report, is India. They're starting from a base of about USD 869.80 million in 2025, but the projected CAGR is 9.6%.
Wow, nearly double-digit growth. That's incredible.
It really is. Probably linked to their fast-growing economy, manufacturing push, tech adoption, a whole range of factors.
Okay, and other major players in APAC, Japan, Korea.
Yep, also strong. Japan, USD 1,200.32 million market, 6.2% CAGR. South Korea, USD 143.76 million, 6.8% CAGR. You know, their strength in consumer electronics and IT plays a big role there. And then Australia, Singapore, Taiwan, Southeast Asia, all showing really healthy KGRs, mostly in the 7-8% range. It's a very dynamic picture across APAC.
Okay, let's shift gears. South America, what's the outlook there? Represents about 5% globally?
A bit more than 5%, yeah. The 2025 market size is around UFD 377.18 million, and the projected CAGR is 5.7%, so, faster than North America or Europe, but not quite APAC levels.
Right.
Brazil's the largest market there, USD 589.43 million, growing at 5.8%. That seems linked to industrialization, urbanization, building out infrastructure.
Makes sense.
Argentina's smaller, USD 231.37 million, but has a higher projected KGR of 6.6%, possibly driven by telecoms expansion, maybe some data center growth.
Yeah.
Colombia, Peru, Chile also showing solid growth, mostly in the 6% range.
Okay. And the Middle East, a smaller piece of the pie currently.
Around 2% of global revenue, yes. 2025 market size, USD 1449.66 million. But the growth rate is pretty strong, projected at 6.3% CAGR.
Higher than South America, then.
A bit higher, yeah. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are the main players, both growing around 6.6 to 6.8%. And interestingly, Qatar's growth is partly linked to renewable energy investments. Turkey's growth is boosted by efforts to upgrade their electricity grid.
Got it. Finally, Africa. Smallest share right now.
Yes, about 1% globally. That's around USD 797.31 million in 2025, with a projected CAGR of 5.3%. South Africa is the largest market, USD 280.65 million, growing at 6.2%. Nigeria is smaller, about USD 53.79 million, but growing at 5.5%, partly thanks to renewables adoption there too.
Okay, so quite a varied global picture. Different growth rates, different drivers.
Yeah.
Let's zoom in a bit on the technology itself. How does the market break down by, say, type of power supply or power output?
Good question. So by type, the report suggests AC to DC power supplies will likely stay dominant.
Because most grid power is AC, but devices need DC.
Exactly. They're the standard converters in, well, almost everything from phone chargers to factory machines. They're the workhorses. But the fastest growing segment is actually DC to DC converters.
Ah, why is that?
Think electric vehicles. They run on DC batteries, solar panels generate DC. You need efficient DC to DC converters to manage voltages within those systems or to interface with DC microgrids.
Right. EVs and renewables are pushing that. Makes sense. What about output power? How much juice are we talking?
Well, the medium output range, say 500 watts to 1500 watts, holds the largest share right now.
Okay.
That's common for industrial automation, telecom gear, medical devices, things needing a good amount of stable power.
Okay.
But the high output segment, so the over 1500 watts, that's expanding really fast.
And that's driven by?
Data centers, again, they're just huge power consumers. Also, really high-end industrial automation, heavy machinery.
Gotcha. And who's using all these? The end users?
Okay, so the report says the transportation sector currently holds the biggest share, and that's almost entirely down to electric vehicles. EVs need complex, powerful supply systems.
The EV boom effect.
Definitely. But consumer electronics is also growing rapidly. Just the sheer volume of smartphones, laptops, smart home gadgets, it all adds up.
No kidding.
Beyond those two, you've got significant use in the industrial sector, aerospace and defense, healthcare like MRI machines, patient monitors, telecommunications infrastructure, and then this others category, which includes things like building automation.
So our gadget love and the EV transition are really shaping this market. Now, every market has its ups and downs. What are the key things pushing growth, and what's maybe holding it back?
Okay, drivers. Big one is the push for renewable energy. Integrating solar and wind needs sophisticated power conversion. Then, as we said, data centers and cloud computing. Huge demand driver. And finally, those energy efficiency regulations we mentioned, especially in places like Europe. They force innovation towards better, greener power supplies.
Okay, those are the tailwinds. What about headwinds, challenges?
The report points to a couple of main things. One is fluctuating raw material prices. Things like copper, semiconductors. Price swings can really impact costs. And related to that, supply chain disruptions. We've seen how that can cause problems recently.
For sure.
And the other side of the regulations coin, while they drive efficiency, meeting those stringent standards can be tough and expensive for manufacturers. It requires R&D investment, compliance costs.
So the push for better tech creates its own hurdles. Interesting. Looking forward then, what are the big trends shaping the future of power supplies?
Two main things seem clear. First, a relentless drive for more energy efficiency and higher power density, making them smaller, lighter, but still powerful and less wasteful.
Doing more with less, basically.
Exactly. Second is the integration of smart features, digital control, smart power management. This allows for much finer control, better monitoring, optimizing power use, leading to more reliability and efficiency overall. Think intelligent power supplies.
Smarter and more efficient. Got it. Now, this market sounds big and important, so I imagine it's pretty competitive.
Oh, absolutely. The report calls it highly competitive. You've got the established major players who are focused on, efficiency gains, innovation, adding digital smarts. They leverage their reputations, global reach.
Yeah, big names.
Right. But you also have newer, maybe more nimble companies coming in, often with specialized solutions, perhaps targeting specific niches or focusing heavily on those smart management features. The report even mentioned a couple of examples from late 2022. MeTech, programmable power, launching new AC and DC sources for testing and industrial use, and Riggle Technologies expanding its DC power supply line with enhanced features.
So continuous innovation, new products hitting the market, it's dynamic.
Definitely. Competition seems focused on pushing the technology forward.
Okay, great stuff. Let's try to wrap this up, synthesize the key takeaways from this deep dive.
Sure. I think the main points are, 1, strong, steady growth forecast globally for power supplies, reaching over $53 billion by 2033. 2, this growth isn't uniform. APAC, especially India and China, is set to grow fastest, even though North America and Europe are currently larger markets. And 3, the drivers are fundamental. Our need for consumer electronics, industrial automation, plus the shift to renewables and the pressure for energy efficiency.
Excellent summary. Growing market regional hotspots driven by tech adoption and efficiency needs. So here's a final thought for you, our listeners, to chew on. With this huge expansion across so many sectors, what does that mean for our wider energy infrastructure? How do things like battery tech or smart grids need to evolve alongside this? And maybe critically, how do we manage the sustainability side of this ever-increasing demand for power conversion? Lots to think about there.
Indeed, and maybe closer to home for you listening. How do these trends impact your specific industry? Are these growth drivers relevant? Are the restraints something you see? It's definitely a market that touches almost everything.